Hello, I'm Jay Gregory. I'd like to welcome you to PSE's Wild Outdoors. This week we're going to join my son Wyatt on his quest for a buck in 2015.
A bow hunter is someone who embraces the ultimate challenge and becomes one with nature. Overcoming obstacles, enduring difficulties, patiently waiting for opportunities that may not come. This is bow hunting. Outdoorsmen by nature, bow hunters by choice. This is PSE's Wild Outdoors, and we bow hunt everything. And it all starts now.
Well, it's September 19th. It's the opening weekend of archery season here in Missouri. We planted this food plot this summer, and we've been really excited about getting up here to hunt it. We got a camera on it, a wireless camera that's been sending us pictures, and we've got at least 3 good bucks that have been using it and coming through. There's a licking branch right down this edge that they've been hitting almost every day in the morning and in the evening, so we're just gonna sit tight and we'll see what happens.
All these bucks moving early in the evening definitely saved a doe's life that night.
Well, on this first night, Wyatt had a lot of activity, and I wasn't really too worried about his patience. On the next night, though, I was afraid his patience might get the best of him.
I decided I'm gonna shoot a doe tonight. We just had one step out in the field and she's coming right over here.
Well, we actually shot this doe pretty early, so we decided to stay in the tree, and TC, who was filming me, actually got a shot at a doe as well.
You can't shoot her right there. tree.
He's not gonna like that we had that in the show. Well, here she is. It's September 20th. Last night we sat on the same food plot we sat on tonight, and we saw probably 15 different deer. And we had a bunch of does all over us, but I decided not to shoot because I was holding out for a buck. But tonight, this doe come out about 540. I put a good shot on her. She didn't go far. It's a great start to the 2015 season.
This segment of PSE's Wild Outdoors is brought to you by Polaris.
PSE's Wild Outdoors is being brought to you by PSE Archery, Yeti Coolers built for the wild, Styrka Optics, Slash Inset Blade Arrow System, Carbon Force PSE Arrows, Hueyman Extendable Saws, Polaris, and Sitka Gear.
Well, it's October 3rd. We're here in Missouri. TC and I snuck in here this morning. Well, actually, it was around noon. Hung this double set on this lane. We put out our wireless camera here yesterday because we knew this was a good spot and it's close to a good bedding area. And last night, one of our big bucks was right here under this tree, eating acorns on this lane. And then one of our other shooters was right here too, but it was in the middle of the night. There's lots of acorns on the ground, and I just feel I have a good feeling about tonight. We're hoping to catch them coming up out of this bedding area. We got our food plot about 200 yards that way, so we're trying to catch them coming up out here, walking up this lane maybe. They haven't been making it out into the food plot in the daylight, so maybe this is where they've been hanging out before they get out there. I got a good feeling. We'll see what happens.
Well, even though that 7-pointer wasn't a buck I wanted to shoot, it was still nice to see the plan come together. About 2 weeks later, we were in the right tree again.
Well, it's October 18th there in Iowa. We're back in the same tree we hunted last night, and we had some really good movement last night. We saw one of our good bucks last night around 6 o'clock, and he didn't make it into the field till it was almost dark, and he didn't make it up here, so we're hoping tonight he's gonna come back out with some does, and maybe he'll feed up here into the clover plot, so. It's really windy tonight. I don't know what to expect, but hopefully we can see some deer.
Well, now it's the middle of October, and we're starting to see the rut activity pick up a little bit. The bucks are starting to hit these scrapes along this clover plot.
Action of the night. We just had it's a mature buck, but I don't know. He doesn't look like he looks like he's got 6 on his left side, but I don't think I'm gonna shoot him, but it's a good sign. We didn't see him last night, so maybe our big one will come out too. That's a pretty nice buck. I decided I wasn't gonna shoot him before he came over here. He came right up here, probably 15 yards, and he's working a scrape right now about 10 yards.
Wyatt was having a lot of luck seeing mature deer. He just wasn't seeing the right mature deer. That was about to change a week later out of the same tree.
Well, I'm back in the same tree where I saw the 6x4 about a week earlier, and we had a nice 8-pointer coming right to the tree. He got about 25 yards away and he stopped, worked a scrape. I thought he was gonna walk right down the edge by the tree, but what do you know? He turns around and walks straight away, and no matter how much I grunted at him, he just would not come back.
This segment of PSE's Wild Outdoors is brought to you by Hueyman Extendable Saws.
This segment of PSE's Wild Outdoors is brought to you by Sitka Gear.
Well, now it's November, and we really hadn't been having much luck, but we knew it was just a matter of being in the right place at the right time, and on November 14th, we were.
So I pulled out the current tube and hit the current tube a couple times. He crossed the ditch and he's coming. It's a big 10 we've had a bunch of encounters with.
Well, we had the Big 10 coming down the fence, and in the process of trying to call him in, we actually called in another shooter. Well, we had the split G2 buck come by, and as we were watching him leave, we should have been paying attention behind us because there was another shooter coming right where he came from.
You know what? I am. You're gonna have to shoot him in this clearing right here. Hang on, scoot back. Shoot him in that gap. Okay. Hang on. I'll tell you when. All right, whatever. Dude, I don't have a shooting light. God, I don't have it. Okay, right, no.
Man, Wyatt and his cameraman, as is often the case, were having a really tough time communicating and getting the buck to stop in the right spot.
All right, well, it's November 15th. We're here back in Iowa. We moved these stands last night to where all these deer seemed to be coming through whenever they would come by this spot. It just got light and we just spotted one of the big ones I was at full draw on yesterday. He's coming right across the beans, heading towards us, so hopefully he'll make his way over here.
You know, this is a perfect example of sometimes if you just don't catch the buck in the right mood, it doesn't matter if you rattle, you grunt, you snort, wheeze, all the above, sometimes it just plain doesn't work. Make sure and check out our new website at bowhunteverythingtwo.com for merchandise and videos and everything wild outdoors. Also follow along on Facebook and Twitter for our daily updates from the field.
Well, now it's late season, and something we were really wanting to do was shoot a deer with one of our new slash arrows. Well, this is me running the camera for Jake Denton, and this doe was a perfect candidate for one of the slash arrows.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You drilled her. Well done. Did you see the blood trail? We're shooting these new arrows. They're called slash. Oh. And I've been really wanting to break one in. And wow. I finally did it. Breaking these new slash arrows that we've been using. As you can see, they're just absolutely devastating. Had a complete pass through and it broke 2 ribs. So happy with that. She went about it was double loads. She went about 125 yards, 130 yards.
Well, now that we've tried the slash arrow out, it was time to try to get me a buck. I've always had luck in the late season hunting over soybeans.
Can you believe it? Last night of 2014, 2015, Iowa, and I just smoked him.
Take a look at that. Well, I still can't believe that we got it done here on the last night of Iowa. Tonight started off slow. We weren't seeing very many deer till about 4 o'clock, and the floodgates opened. All the deer were coming out. We had 12 different young bucks in the field, I believe, and looked back in the woods and we saw this guy coming. He come right into the beans, and as you can imagine, I was pretty excited to start hunting this late season over soybeans.
We decided if there's a time to make a move, it's now, because I'm going on vacation in 2 days. This is our last evening to hunt, so we moved the blind 100 yards down here, tucked in the cedar tree. The mature bucks were right in front of this last night. Hopefully they'll do the same thing twice, but we should have a good hunt either way. Well, that's the first deer of the evening.
Well, it's funny how things work out. Back in October, I had this 6x4 buck at 20 yards and I didn't shoot him. Now I just wish he would get within 40 yards so I could shoot him. Well, we were kind of going back and forth with these bucks. The night before, we were sitting on the standing beans, and they were all feeding in the cut beans. So we decided to move the blind the next night down to the cut beans, and what do you know, they're all feeding in the standing beans the next night.
Those are both shooter bucks, and they're both in the beans right in front of where we were letting yesterday before we moved the blind.
Well, there you have it. Wyatt's 2015 deer season. Just like a lot of us, he didn't kill a deer, but he had a great season. He had a lot of great encounters. It's just the way hunting goes. That's why it's called hunting and not killing. Well, it's about all the time we've got for this week. We'd like to thank you for watching. We'll look forward to seeing you again next week right here on PSE's Wild Outdoors.